And I think the biggest one that I spend a lot of time talking about is video, which is the number one belief people have is you can't have a course if it doesn't have video in it. And courses don't have to have video, right? You can teach perfectly great content without video. Video is good. Don't get me wrong. Video is useful and serves a purpose, but not every course has to have video, or not every single lesson in your course has to have video, because sometimes a worksheet is fine and sometimes audio is awesome. Like, what's to say you can't have a private podcast that runs alongside your program and just not have video? Or perhaps there are other things that you prefer, but we get stuck in this trap. And I get a lot of clients that stuck on this, and maybe you see the same, which is they kind of get their idea fleshed out and it gets to the recording video stage and they get stuck. And it's because that maybe the tech freaks them out, or the being in front of the camera freaks them out, or whatever it might be, but they don't progress any further simply because they've gone, oh, I can't do video, so I can't have a course. But there are so many ways around that, right? Like, there's so many other things you can do that aren't video.
Love that. Such a good point. Yeah, I agree 100%. My first course, Sam, sold for $250 or something like that, was like 99% written. Because I didn't know about course platforms. So I just created an ebook, and I was going to sell it just 100% ebook. But then I realized there's unlisted YouTube videos. So I was like, you know what? Let me do a 5-10 minute summary at the start of each module. Still, it was maybe 20 minutes of video total, and that course was great. Got a lot of feedback. And then a good friend of mine, do you know Steph Taylor?
I do know. Yeah.
She's from Queensland as well. So she was telling me, she's been on this podcast a couple of times, and I think one of her original courses was all just written. It was like a podcast, how to launch a top podcast guide kind of thing. Sold for $197, sold hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million. And it was just a written one there. So
my very first course that I ever sold was email only. I mean, obviously I'm old now, sorry, showing my age. This is back in the olden days of the internet. But it was email only. They got a weekly email with action items and some content and some info. And then there was a bit of follow-up. It was like a 52-week program, one action week, task a week for the whole year. Sold for like $1,000, and it was only email. 100% email. There was no video anywhere. So there are options. And I think we've just fallen into this trap of oh my God, I have to have this fancy, shiny background or green screen, or I have to look super professional in video. That's probably another bullshit thing we can talk about. Yes. But you don't have to. You really don't have to. It's helpful. It's useful. You might want it, but you don't have to have it.
Yes, I agree.